We're going to start through with how to download, where to download TDA, how to install it. I'll just do that quickly. Most of you might have TDA already downloaded, but most of you don't. To start off with, the best way to download TDA is through our website. So it's www.albumsaustralia.com.au. You go and click on the login page, enter in your login details that we supply you when you first join Albums Australia, and password or pass number, and click on login. Now this will get you to the back end of our website. You go to software support, and in there you get TDA software download. And there's also instruction. It's always important to read the installation instructions. Now while you're here, I'll also let you know that this is a place that you can check your account details. You can check any of your sales orders. If you have some orders in the system with us, you can see where the orders are at, when are they supposed to finish, and how much they cost. At the same time, you can always download our latest price list, look at our newsletters, or if you're ordering some portrait product, we also can go to product support. We have all our portrait product cover photo templates and order forms. We have gone to TDA software download. You download the version that suits your PC or Mac, and then we install it. So by installing, all you have to do is double click to launch, and that will install the software. Now, like I said, always follow the instructions written for Windows and for Mac. The software installed in application or in program files, create a shortcut of the TDA onto your desktop, and then launch from that shortcut. Now you'll notice down the bottom here, these menu points never change. So at the start, it's start a new album, or start a new album from template, as well as open a saved album and settings. So if you're a first-time user of the software, you should always go to software registrations. In software registration, this is where you set up TDA. So to start off with, you'll go to Users Agreement. Everyone needs to be on a client's agreement. Once you're on a client agreement, you scroll down to the bottom and you agree to the agreement. That will take you to the studio registration. Well, you put in your studio name, account number, and a valid email address and phone number if you wish. And you click on Check Registration. This will register your software with us. Now what's really important is that you need to set up the outgoing mail server. If you don't know what it is, you can also call Albums Australia. We do have a list of pretty much a lot of the servers out there, and we can help you. You can also Google. If you just Google SMTP and then your internet provider, most likely you'll find it quick that way as well. You don't have to worry about advanced settings at this stage. You only use advanced settings if the SMTP is not working, and then you speak to us, and then we can go through and help you in the advanced section. While we're in the Studio Default, I'll quickly run you through some of the back-end things. We'll start with General Defaults. This tells you where TDA is looking at Photoshop. You can also click on Test Photoshop Scripting to make sure that Photoshop and TDA are working well. So if we click on that now, while I'm chatting, TDA will run Photoshop in the background. We also have the default libraries. It tells you where your saved albums are going to live, and if you like, you can change this and put it somewhere else if you need to back up all your albums. At the moment, the default is always in your documents, and then Virtual TDA6 under a folder called Saved Albums, and this is work for both PC and Mac. Now you remember that we clicked on Test Photoshop Scripting, and here we go. Photoshop has been launched and scripting was successful. So this is a way of letting you know that TDA and Photoshop are working 100% together. Default units, you've got two options. You can work with inches or with millimeters. I keep mine on inches. I prefer to work with inches. Now this is something new, album design images. We have come across a lot of big albums which are creating a lot of big libraries, which can cause TDA to crash. So at the moment we've created something new. It's called Save Album Design Images as External Images, and by doing that you will pretty much cut the size of your album libraries in a third or even a quarter. So this is something new. None of you will have on your computers as yet, but this is something will be released in the next couple of weeks. Album pricing is a way of finding out exactly how much your albums are costing you. You can also add in your tax and your delivery to this as well. Let's say delivery $25. So what this will do, every time you price your album, it automatically get priced with tax and with delivery. Now the cost current album is not showing as yet because we don't have an album open, so we'll come back to all this a little bit later on. Print and assembly service is something that we offer to all our clients, is where your images get uploaded for us for printing. We do the printing, we assemble the album, and we return everything back to you complete. And that's called print and assembly service. So once you're signed up to the service, you can select the lab that you want to use. At the moment we have set up on Bond. You can choose AlbumsAustralia default or any of these labs in your area. You can also select if you want to pay AlbumsAustralia direct or if you want to pay your lab direct, just in case you get special benefits by paying them direct. P&A image transport, it's best to have it as upload image to lab with final album order. But if your internet is not working, you can change this to I will send images to AlbumsAustralia on CD, DVD, but please note that handling fees will apply. So you should only use that really in an emergency if your internet is not working. Color correction, you can choose for the lab to color correct your images. You can choose no color correction, or you can ask the lab to color correct per page, where they just have an overall look at the page, choose one image on that page, color correct for that one image, and apply that correction for the entire page. That is a little bit cheaper to go that way, but it's best that you have your images, almost 90% corrected and they're all color matching on that entire page, and not to mix black and white or color, because that can affect the overall color correction. We also have introduced the new Define Art, which is a fine art print and assembly service to go with our fine art albums, and this has been added down here. And you have an option of selecting between two different Canson paper. One is a BFK Rivs and the other one is photographic. If you're not sure the difference, you can ask us and we'll send you some sample. But the BFK Rivers is sort of a rag paper. It has a little bit more textured. The photographic is a smoother white paper. Okay, double panorama preference, just quickly, is a way of setting up if you want your double panorama creased or cut. So we get a lot of clients requesting crease or cut. So this is where you can set it up. You can leave it as AlbumsAustralia default. We crease, DIY, and designer, but we cut matrix and magazine albums. However, you can change that to suit you. Album types, this gives you a list of all the albums that we offer. If you untick these albums from here, they will not appear in your album selection page. So if you don't want to get confused, you can untick a lot of the albums you don't order from us, just to keep your selection simple when you are selecting an album. So to start a new album, all we have to do is click on the Start a New Album icon. Let's call it Webinar Test 1. And here we go. This started a new album. Now, these menu points, I'll go through them quickly now, but we will go through one at a time. So number one is Image Manager. This will let you import, sort, and preview your images. Album Selection is where you get to select the type of album you want to work with. Cover Designer is virtual cover designer. Lets you choose all your different cover options, your spine material, your leather-like, linen, and acrylic covers. Then you go through to Page Designer. Album Preview, where you get to preview your entire design. Album Reporting will show you exactly what type of album, what you selected. You can also print out that report and have it filed away, so when you do order and receive, or if you want to file something away with your invoices, you have a proper report of what you ordered exactly for future reference. And last but not least is the Studio Defaults. Here is you can go through all the defaults that we had just did. Order Details will show you the details of your album in case you want to make any changes to the namings. Album Slideshow will show you a slideshow of your entire album with music and effects. Image Slideshow, images that you imported into TDA, so you might have imported 500 or 600 images, you can do an image slideshow. Control Panel is pretty much where you need to go to order your album. So this is where you can print album reports, you can output your slideshows, you can output some PDFs, output the high-res images for printing, as well as ordering the album. So that's all done through Control Panel. Now these menu points will not change at all throughout TDA. They're always here at the bottom, but the sub-menu will change, which is above here. So now we're in Image Manager, and if we come up here, the first thing we'll need to do is import high-res images. Just by clicking on that little icon, we can point at the images on the desktop. So I'm going to go to a test print that I have. We'll have a half a dozen prints that I'm going to bring in, and OK. You'll notice it says high-res processing. What this does, it opens up Photoshop. It actually resizes all of your images and bring a low-res preview into TDA. Now you'll notice while here we're Image Manager, there's simple things like rotate images. So if you have some images that need rotation, you can do that here. You can also add folders to the folder manager, which is over here. We have 1,000 images. You don't want to be running, working all of 1,000 of them. So what we do, you grab all the grooms images. You can just click and hold down and lasso like that, or you can use the Shift key to select multiple images. So I'll select all of the grooms first, and I'll quickly put them in the groom. Select the brides and put them in the bride. Select the ceremony, put them in the ceremony, and then I'll select the location. Now what you can do, if this was a really big wedding, you go back to bride, and then you can select bride 1, bride 2, and then put all the different scenes, or all the black and whites together, the portraits of the bride, and then bride and her family. So you can separate them into different subfolders. And this menu here will let you add and delete subfolders. You can also double click and rename the subfolders to suit you as well. Okay, so I won't go through and do all that. Let's move on. There's also a way of sorting, so you can also sort alphabetically, numerically, or by timestamp. This is a really good idea if you have 2 shooters on the wedding shooting for you. So when you import your 1,000 images, if you've got 500 from each camera, probably the best way to do is sort them by time. What this will do is actually sort all your images from both cameras, so at least you have all the bride and all the groom shots, ceremony, etc. next to each other, rather than one camera on the top and then you have to scroll all the way through to the bottom to find the other camera images.